Hello, and at last I have finished my very first journal. I had two on the go at the same time, if you remember, and I did the cover a really long time ago. This is using IOD moulds, and I used a photocopy of a little painting that was given to my grandmother by one of her friends. So I feel like I've got a bit of family memory going on in there. Some of this has chipped away. It was an old dictionary that I painted, and as I've been using it so much, some of the paint that I put on top has chipped away, but I quite like it. It's got quite a rainbow thing going on, so I decided not to change it. I put a little bit of the head from the main picture on the base, and then I stenciled Paris for some reason on the title. So that was where we sort of got to before I even thought about doing a journal with it. It was just going to be a decorative book. So since then, this is my fabric free motion embroidery hippie face, and if you want to see how that's done, you need to pop over to Miss Paintalot's YouTube page, and she does a really good tutorial showing you how to do it. And so I had a go, and totally inspired by her, and I'm quite chuffed to have it at the front of my page. It's nice and bright and sunshiny. So there we go. This was an experiment using Jane Davenport picture as a guideline, and Jane Davenport crayons, as well as Stabilo, which I've used a lot. It's got some decoupage going on it, but there is a video of that if you want to see it. I'm not sure if there's a video of this. This was a bit of an ad-lib picture, inspired by Karen Campbell and her style of long eyelashed eyes. But yeah, I wanted to do it all grayscale, so that's what I did. This was completely ad-libbed. I had a stamp that had some houses, different buildings on it, and some of them have come out clearer than others, and I've gone over them without outlines. But then I did a face, which I just made up. And again, I've used a lot of Jane Davenport's distress crayons for this, as well as a white Posca pen is featuring quite heavily, I feel. Now this page is my mermaid page, and the idea that this started from was the eggshell, and I took that from another mixed media artist, Laurie Marie Jenkins, and she uses eggshells in textured paste. So I had a go, and I just did it on a piece of paper to see if I could then, once it had dried, cut it out. And I did cut it out and made it into a mermaid tail. Originally it was all up to here, I think, and it didn't fit on the page, so I cut it off and then created a face that would sort of fit with it. And then I've put some 3D beads on it. I'm not sure proportionately it's very brilliant, but I quite like the colours, and I like the use of the eggshells that were literally just broken up and pushed into textured paste. I added to this page, just because the colours just went so well, Bohemian bead, and if you want to know how to do them, I've got a separate tutorial on how to make a Bohemian bead. I think they're really lovely. So this page, and I apologise to whoever it was, but I don't remember who, and I saw on YouTube this bit was completely different, but they did do this books, and they've got it on sticky, I don't know if you can see the sticky tabs, so that they raise up a bit, so they've been curved. There is a video of me doing it, and I really like the idea of just old books, aging it up, making them look like books. And then I obviously did my bookworm girl, and I've got some raised stencil writing going on here, which kind of went in with the whole theme. I've no idea where this image came from, but it was about lying down in the grass, and I used an IOD transfer. Oh yes, I remember now, I looked up some royalty-free images of positions, and I found this position of lying down with legs in the air. So I drew that out and then added this huge face to it. So I knew it was going to be out of proportion, but I wanted the face to be big and peering out over the plants. And I've got some raised texture, I've got a raised dandelion going on there too. Now these pages, these were really fun, and these were utterly inspired by Laurie Marie Jenkins. I love her work, and I put several ideas of hers together on sort of different pages. I had some frames and I had some old pictures from Tim Holtz, so I put those in and coloured them up. And this is just a cellophane bag, and so I created like a false stuck pages together and have put a Tim Holtz puppet figure in it, and then just some bits, steampunky bits in there that can sort of move around a bit. But the best thing about this was the outside. I've gone over all of the outside underneath with hot glue to make texture and pattern, and then I've put silver foil over it, and the silver foil has glue. I've glued that down and stuck it over all of the textures that I'd created, and then I've painted over the top, and then I've added silver wax, I believe, or silver paint to pop out, and there's some black paint in there as well, but it's a really nice sort of metallic effect. I really like that. And I just added a steampunk key in. This picture I think was taken from Jane Davenport. I've got one of her books and she does some wonderful books, and I had a go at one of her girls using her crayons. Not over the moon with how it's come out. It's not necessarily my style, I say, but that's because I was using a Jane Davenport picture as a reference. This one, I love doing this because I love Alice. So I had a picture of the Mad Hatter, and I actually did an image transfer on this that didn't come out that well, so I've ended up repainting some of it to give an impression. But it's one of the few pictures of the Mad Hatter not looking sort of bonkers mad and happy, and actually looking sad. So I thought I'd take the phrase "madness isn't always fun," and then I like the idea of a keyhole, looking through a keyhole. So I carried the theme on and did the Queen of Hearts off with her head, which is obviously what we all know. This is a raised stencil of diamonds. Yeah, I just had some fun with that. That was obviously a two-piece project. And then this one was one of the projects that I did for a challenge, which was called My Rainbow Heart, and it's got lots of things going on. It's another 2-page. It's got some raised stencil of words, it's got some doodling, it's got lots of colours going on, all rainbows, and it's obviously got this hole revealing my rainbow heart. Now this rainbow heart was a piece of cardboard, corrugated cardboard, with textured paste on it and bits of broken egg pushed into it, and then as it's dried I've coloured and painted all of the bits of broken egg, and I added underneath it this string with this lovely sort of hippie bead going on. I don't know, I just like the idea of it being stuck out the bottom of the page so that when the book was shut you could find it easily. And I just did some wonky writing, My Rainbow Heart. This is my big blue eyes, and this was a go at a different style for me, but more importantly than the image itself, if you can see, it's just tons and tons of different textures going on here, and I did loads of raised stenciling and plaster and all sorts going on underneath, which really add to the image to look at. I like the use of all of the same sort of shades of colours going on in one double page. I think that works really well. This is my Punch and Judy show, which was based on this idea of life as a stage, and we're all on stage playing our parts. So in my little kiosk is my fake family. Again, Tim Holtz pictures, and they basically all represent us. I sort of found, you know, a younger boy, an older boy, a Georgia-sized boy, a dog, and a husband and wife, and that's the 5 of us on stage playing our part. And it says closed, next show at 2 p.m. I like that idea, and I use these sweet wrappers as the curtains, which were quite cool. Oh, so this was another 2-page jobby, very much inspired by Marie Jenkins. So again, pop over to our YouTube page if you like this style. But I used the same, I've had this pad forever. This is Tim Holtz, and it had these images in, and it had this paper in, and I cut it out, and I've got some raised stenciling going on here. I've got loads of Jane Davenport crayons and stuff going on, but I like this window where I've just put a bit, it's not actually acetate, it's a bit of just plastic I've had from a bag or something, and I've just done that by sticking 2 pages together and putting it in between. And then it's got portraits of children there and older people there, so it follows the theme on, which I quite like. And then lastly was my Valentine's affirmation cards that I did for my children. This picture was very much my go at something that Karen Campbell has done. Please pop over and follow her page. But the main focus of this live that I did was my lovely affirmation heart cards. I hand drew the what do you call it, mouths, and they are print offable, so if you wanted to have a go you can. These are raised stencil hearts, and I've done for each one of my family, I wrote out a little poem, or a little, what I think of them, it's not really a poem, for each one of them, and I wanted to keep them as a keepsake in the back of this book, so I've made a little pocket in the back of this book. And what I also added to this, which I just love, my children thought it was a bit creepy, is this little bottle, and it's got a strand of each of their hair in it. So I've got their DNA for life. So I've got their little messages, and I've got their strand of hair. And that concludes the end of my first book, with all its bits and pieces and things hanging out. But I'm really chuffed with that, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see some of the YouTube videos that I've done creating it, please obviously scroll down on the feed and you will find the appropriate ones that you want to watch. Thanks for joining me, and we shall be back on very soon, finishing off the second book. Thank you very much.